Like the privilege of the floor. All right, we will move ahead to approving minutes. I looked at them on a very quick basis, and I didn't see anything of substance that really came up.
Yeah, I didn't see anything either. I did see
I
somewhere,
saw some typos, some little typos.
where it was referred to as the unassigned.
Yes, I had that.
And I figure we ought to refer to it the same way all the time as undesignated instead of unassigned.
Yeah.
That was in, I think it was in the last
The section of the last minute.
minutes, yeah.
Which, the ones from the budget hearing?
Yeah, and I had one on 92, line 92.
For which set?
Mike Johnson speaks to the history of the broadband to be spoken.
It's line 62 in the last minutes where it says unassigned instead of undesignated.
Okay, which set, which date? Because I don't have 62 on mine.
The February 5th.
Of the special meeting or the bond budget?
The special meeting.
Okay, there we go. Were there any others that you had,
I
or?
had on the first set of minutes, I had line 92, if you would just change speaks to spoke.
That was 92 months, that's right. Spoke.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve all three of these minutes as minorly amended. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll move to finance.
You have the financial report. The numbers are the budget numbers that have been included in the town report. We're tracking pretty well
Just
with.
one couple of questions.
Yeah.
Revenues, I know permits and fees are up because of the registrations that are due in January, the commercial ones. But in here, transfer station fees up 22% are collected for the year. Why is that?
People are bringing stuff and we're capturing.
Yeah. Oh, no, I got it, but do we want to look at our numbers?
Well, we do, we will
later
in
here.
August. Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm just wondering, is it an aberration or is actually this really showing off that we've hired someone to supervise the transfer station, we're collecting a lot more fees?
Showing that.
Showing that, yeah.
Showing
And just so you know, a few months back, I did go on other towns' websites and we're pretty close, but I can do up a comparison if you like.
No, that's fine. I think that's great that that's there.
It's
It's actually showing up really well. And once again, remind me of miscellaneous revenues that come in January.
Those are,
Is that the September?
no, it's the cable TV franchise.
Okay. Why don't we list that as a line item going forward? Or
The only reason we have it under miscellaneous is because it does, if you want us to separate it out, there's just not a line,
how much
specific
is
line.
there in there?
16,000 a year, 17,000.
And how many more years, do we get to renegotiate that, or is that? is that a 10-year deal?
It's several years out, so
Okay.
I think we have 4 or 5 years.
Okay, cool. And then expenses, nothing really up there. The only one we always have is insurances. We know that that's due at the time of the year.
Now, I did note to you that there's $14,000 combined in all of the departments for payroll
That hasn't
liability.
been,
That's not
Right.
reflected here in each of the different departments.
and
So-
why?
Well, it's
Computer-
just the way the payroll system is set up. We're gonna try to separate it out. But
Is this something new we're doing, or is this just something?
it's something new that we started on January 1st.
All right.
brought the payroll in-house. So what happened is prior it was being brought in from an import, and I was entering each number manually under those budget line item
Yeah.
numbers. And now it's being produced right from our QuickBooks, And what's happening is that payroll system is created its own line that is called payroll expenses, which is exclusively the Medicare and Social Security taxes that both the employer and the employee pay. Well, the employer side, they've created just a random line in there, so I haven't been able to reallocate them.
So
So is
the,
it, it's here, but it's not
it's not,
allocated separately
there's another 14,000 that I've not reported to you
in expenses?
in expenses.
But they
I
are specific
think
only to
that
payroll and.
they're
They are
specific to
only
federal
Social
taxes.
Security and Medicare.
And I think that we should reduce each one of the departments by their share of those costs. It's a payroll tax, it's not anything that we cause, right? So we can lump sum that in that item where it's going right now into that line that the system created. There is a line in the state chart of accounts that we can account for it and just pull it out of the departmental costs and treat it as a lump sum for the town. It's still gonna show up on our expense. It just
Yeah,
won't be
but-
charged to each of the
And it's
departments.
just Medicare and Social.
It's just
Yeah.
Medicare and Social
But
Security.
isn't that
So-
gonna throw you off on your total budgets, dollars for each department?
No, because you guys control.
It becomes an
It
administrative
Yeah.
line.
becomes an
No,
administrative
I
cost.
get you there, but if you're hiring, say, people in public safety and people in public works.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you have all of their social security and something else on another line.
It'll still be in the personnel calc sheet.
We're gonna show
All right, so
you
it'll
with
be in the
first-
personnel calc sheet, but it
Yes.
won't be, it'll be a separate
It'll
budget
be a
item.
separate,
So we'll have to go and grab that to reconcile.
And it's a percentage, isn't it?
It is,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's not anything that we have any
it isn't
control
anything that
over.
we control, so.
Yeah.
I just think it'll save a lot as time-wise, week after week after week going
That's
in.
it,
and
but we have to
separating.
remember to bring it back and out.
Oh, in the
Yeah.
personnel calc sheet won't change anything, we'll
Yeah.
just grab the bottom line number of the calc sheet, make that the line item in the budget,
Got it.
so.
All right. Like, maybe star that line item.
You'll see it. No,
We're older, we forget a lot of things.
No, you're gonna see, what you will see is, you'll see administration here,
Right,
and then you'll see payroll liability underneath that in between revaluation and administration. There'll be a new line there.
so are you calling that a payroll liability because you haven't
Well,
paid?
that's
is it
what it's
transfer from a
called.
That is what it's
liability?
called.
That's what
It
it's
is,
called.
it is a payroll liability.
Oh, I know it is,
Yeah.
but once you paid it, it's not a liability.
No, but that's how they, that's how they.
Okay, no, because I deal with this with our accounting too.
Yeah. So you'll just see a new line item here.
Yeah.
And each one of the department proposed budgets will go down slightly, and that'll be made up with the lump
Yeah.
sum
Okay,
under the payroll.
right, when I asked about it
Call
three more times, just remind me, all right?
Yes, no problem.
Taxes.
All right.
Payroll taxes.
Margaret, anything
That's
else
all
for
it's about.
financial? Okay, well, financial, we'll go to department heads. Chris, how are you doing?
Very well. We had a good, nice and relatively quiet mass vacation week. That was good. Been real busy with Special Olympics, getting them up and running. They started getting deliveries today for their events. Which reminds me that they need a welcome from the town official on Sunday night at opening ceremony.
7 o'clock?
I believe so, yes. If that's different, I will let you know.
Well, I can always hide in my office down there.
Okay. All right.
Just send someone into the green room to get me.
Where's your, is it a rider? What's that called?
Yes, the rider.
Yeah.
You know, I've submitted to the Special Olympics
Okay,
already.
all right, okay. All right, very good. Other than that, everything's good.
Guys, and all these showbiz terms.
Yeah.
I noticed a lot of pullovers, and I noticed a lot of people driving way too fast February vacation week, almost, I think it was about as worse as I've seen.
Yeah, it is. It's actually hard for us to keep up, but
Yeah.
we do what we can do. And,
Yeah.
you pull over one person and there's two other people right behind them.
And they're all on their phones, and they're all modern cars that have Bluetooth.
Yep, and then they're all driving around with snow piled on their car.
Yeah.
So it's it's a busy time.
Well, are we writing tickets for some of these things?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Not saying that it's good, but it's just,
Well,
it's
no, I
getting
mean,
dangerous with the snowbanks.
We're sensitive to the fact that it's a resort, but, we see people multiple times, and those are the ones that get tickets.
Great. All right, Brooke.
We had a pretty steady week last week. The skiing was really good, so it wasn't as busy as it has been in some years where we have less than stellar weather. We may be a little bit down in our numbers because of that, but overall it was a good week. And we have extended programming this week, and we've been able to offer stuff for the community. Many of the days this week, there's only stuff going on at the rec department, so it's really good we're here.
All right, I sent you something today and I want to share that and get it out into the public. What was it called?
Hike spa.
There was a program, was it with Killington?
Mm-hmm.
Killington is doing this program called Hike Spa, where it's out soliciting people to come hike and spa treatments and yoga and meals as a way to get away. And I think that would be a great thing if you agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, it's fine. But to bring to the Resort Association and to all these other vendors in the area, like Helen Rita and the restaurants and the lodges, to let's get with something like that. It's exactly what we need to bring people up here midweek to come hike, get pampered, do yoga and all this. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And, we're closer than Killington to a lot of these metro areas.
Yeah.
And we could probably do it for less money. And it wasn't that expensive as a start to have it done.
Right, yeah, I can look into that more, maybe talk to the person that's running it there. And I did notice, just briefly looking at it, that it might be challenging finding a spot that could do the meals that are gonna be healthy and, all that, but those might just be problems to overcome. So I can look into
But
it
it also could
further.
be the restaurants would contribute and be part of it and have something on a special menu
Yeah,
for these people.
yeah, I'll
Because
certainly.
if we're building a midweek business, I'm sure they'd rather cook up some healthy meals and sell them instead of selling nothing.
Yeah.
Sure. That's, I think, what our goal is to get that done. So I really think, it might be a good thing to take the point and bring it to the Resort Association
Okay,
and
great,
get people.
I will investigate that further.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Great, all right. We got a lot with Jim, so. All right, you want to talk to Jim or do you want to go for a calendar review first? Let's do calendar. The school district meeting is Monday, the 9th,
At the 6th.
Yes.
or 6:15.
I don't know right off the top of my head what
Okay.
it says. It's in your town report though.
Mhm.
Page 99,
Is it at home? The town report is ready?
page 99. 6 PM.
Okay, great. And we are having polling hours for the ballots on the 10th.
That's correct.
And that is going to be, is that noon to 5?
It is 11 to 5.
11
Noon to
All right,
5.
maybe we'll not
Noon
be
to
here.
5. Noon to 5.
No, I will be here.
You will?
Yes,
Oh, I
I
thought
changed my reservation.
Oh, okay.
Noon to 5. Tuesday,
All right.
March 10th.
So I think by email, we can figure out who wants to do what shifts.
Is Rich going to be here?
Yeah.
He will.
Because that's town meeting.
Okay, how many hours is it? 6?
It's noon to 5.
6 hours, no, 5
5.
hours.
5 hours.
And
And then you have counting from 5 to 5:30. So really you should figure 5.5 to 6 hours.
Okay,
okay, well, I will take the late shift again.
okay. I'll take the early shift. Oh, Rich and I will figure out between the two.
Yeah,
of us who takes the
okay.
early.
So I will take
You'll take 3:30 to 5:30.
3:30 to
I can
5:30.
do it for it.
No.
Because you have to actually do counting. We just sit around here.
I know, that's what I like. 30.
Okay. Great. All right. The next regular board meeting is Tuesday, the 10th.
That's right after
Right
town
after
meeting.
the town meeting.
Yep. And then the planning board is the 12th. All right, ZBA, we've heard that Kevin Brakeman is no longer on the ZBA.
Well, he's not a full,
Not, okay.
Wants to be an
not
alt,
speaking.
And who are we asking?
Barbara.
Barbara.
Barbara Prendergast to make her a full member?
Yes.
All right, I will make the motion to take the recommendation of the Board of Adjustment to make Barbara Pendergast a full member of the board and make Kevin Brayton an alternate. Is there a second?
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, we're done. And before we get to Jim, let's go to privilege of the floor too. Craig, you got anything?
I just want
Introduce yourself for the record, please.
to, Craig Larson, Golf Club. I just want to talk about the temporary parking that we had on the side of Valley Road. I would like to make it a permanent thing. The first weekend that we did it, we had problems with people parking on both sides. And then the police department had put some signage up, and that stopped it. And we've been using it pretty much every Saturday straight through the winter. I don't anticipate too much from here on out, but there are probably some Saturdays in the summer that we would like to use that too. And we'd like to make it a permanent thing. Would like to have some permanent signage out on the road. And I would like to have, if possible, when they go out and paint the walkways, is we actually paint a little bit of a parking spot out there.
Okay. Well, I think we probably want to talk to public safety and the planning board about it and get back to you on it, but I don't see a real problem. But
I am going to the planning board in a couple of weeks on something else. I don't know if you want to talk about that or if you're just gonna.
does it involve us?
Nothing involves you. But anyway, it's just for information.
All right, good.
So that, yeah, like I say, I would want to thank the police department and the BPW for moving the banks back. And I just would prefer to have permanent signage up that would be a little bit more user-friendly, and I think that would work
For
out
the
very
record,
well.
we had no issues with it. It seemed to work very well. And back on, kudos to Craig for monitoring it and did a good job.
So
Makes our job easier, so.
you want input from the planning board?
Well, can we make the move without talking to the planning?
Well, it's up to you.
See, I don't know. I would rather Rich here, who's the ex officio from the planning board. I don't want to do something and the planning board goes, how come you did that without
Right.
us?
No, I don't necessarily need, I would like if, at the same time, when they have the guys come out and do the lines on the road and they repaint the crosswalks, it'd be nice to have it done at that time.
Yeah, okay,
Usually-
we've got plenty of time before that's going to be redone.
Yeah, that usually is done in June, I think, or something.
Well, we tried to get it done before the Memorial Day, but it's all weather dependent.
Right. I mean, it is in the spring. And
We'll have it way before that.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of painting you'd want done over there where it wouldn't be noticeable in the winter.
no, but I would like to use it on certain Saturdays, I
Yeah,
believe.
But I don't know how you would paint it. I don't know what,
It's not paved, is it?
Well, we're only on the white line in. It was, I think 90% of the parking was on pavement. It just start there. I mean, the signage works good, and I think the paint, if it's available, would help out a little bit, and get people aware of what's going on a full-time basis, I guess. Yeah. That's about the size of it. It's not imperative, but I'm not picky on the color.
white or white. Or we could do it in black so you could just change it.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
That too,
Great.
that's an approach.
All right, great. Let's move over to Jim. What's going on with you, Jim?
Well, we're just trying to get ourselves ready for the 1 to 14 we're supposed to get tonight. So,
What are you hearing, Chris?
I'm hearing that it's a fine line between a lot of snow and rain.
right.
I think that you'll see pretty good accumulations at the mountain, but it might be one of those storms where it's just hardy hill in, and it will get progressively more as the elevation goes up.
But it
Last
will,
I looked, Plymouth is like 1 to 3,
right,
so.
but it will get wet. It will be wet, whatever snow that accumulates, so. So we're ready for that. And given the weather of late and what it looks like for next week, I'll probably end up posting roads next week, so,
What is next week? Gonna be warm again?
yes. It's forecasted to be warmer.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of buckling, aren't we?
Yeah.
I was telling you, Mark,
Frost is.
I'm going to Snows Mountain Road today, and it's,
Yeah, that's,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, yeah, the roads is frost heaves are worse this year than I've seen them in a number of years.
Yeah.
All over,
well, it'll be interesting to see how our patch holds up.
so.
Yeah.
And then, the only other thing I have is, we're planning on, grabbing another sample of well 3 next week, so.
Okay, and this is our own in-house samples. Okay, so let's talk about the dam closeout.
We have signed the final pay requisition and the balancing change order and the official closeout document. We are awaiting, the engineers and the town have signed those, all 3 of those, and we're waiting for the contractor to sign them.
Okay, and we come
He's
to,
agreed to sign them.
have we come to a amount?
If he signs the 3 documents,
That's
if the
right.
contractor
Yeah.
signs them, we will be within the one more supplemental appropriation in this year's town report or town meeting warrant. So we will be about 22,000 over budget.
Okay.
Over, so if
And
we
is-
appropriate the 25,000,
Right.
we'll be within that budget.
All right, and is that with the contribution from the other parties?
Yes,
Okay. All right, and how about the lights? Do we have any more word on that?
well,
No, we talked a little bit about it. Let's get-
Yeah, I was in touch with a contractor that put them in. He told me that he could, change the guts out on the lights, because they got photocells and they've got, other things in there that's not just a light bulb, so. He said that'd be about, $2,200 to do
For all of them?
for all of them.
Okay, gotta be sure of this.
Yeah, but, we are patiently awaiting that signed certification of completion so that I can get hold of him and to make sure that he got paid from the project. Well, the signed certification, well, that's the contractor's indication that he's paid all his subs. So I'll verify it with him and I'll get him to do it.
and we have 5,000, I want to wait until town meeting. We have a line item for maintenance at the dam that we will be able to pay for the switch of the lights.
I think we should call that into the damn project instead of maintenance. You know, let's get the whole thing done before we start.
Okay,
Yeah, just adding 2,200 or so to it, so we know where we stand with it. For instance, do you want to?
cover with the 25 that we're getting, the supplemental 25 we're getting.
Yeah.
As well.
All right, the engineering service RFQ schedule, we have that, but please,
So-
on Monday, remind me.
I'll send you something Sunday night. I do have the actual RFQ documents that we sent out, and I've attached some questions. So I've asked both Jim and Brooke to join us when we're talking to the engineers.
Yeah.
So if you look at the RFQ document, attachment A, third page, that lists off what we are asking them, what we ask them to submit to us, first of all. And then in each one of these areas, vision, facilities inventory, prioritization, funding strategy, et cetera, these are the things we're asking them to do. So I think we should base our questions on that information. So I've asked each one of them to come in, give us a 5 to 10 minute review of what they submitted to us for information, tell us about their firm, tell us about their vision statement that we asked them to develop for the town. And then we can go right down these things and ask them questions based on that. As well as on the 4th page, there are all of the engineering firms called me and said, what are you really asking us to focus on? So I gave them these 4 headings as the major categories of engineering services that we're going to be looking for from them based on our conversations. So we can talk down through these and ask questions about these as well. And I have a list, just a couple of possible general questions that we can ask. And then if there was anything else that you think I've missed, if you want to email me or whatever, I will add them to this possible questions list as we go. Or if you want to do it totally different, we can do that too.
No, I think it's a really good outline, and I think, fortunately, we work with like these firms already,
Yeah.
so we know what they do.
Yeah.
And we don't have to go through that part of it.
In excruciating detail.
Well, I think the brochures were excruciating
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Some of, have we worked with all of these firms?
No,
Also the
4 out of the 5.
Yeah, one line.
HEB is the only one we haven't worked with.
Okay, for those that we have worked with before,
Yeah.
I think it would be good to ask the question, the project that you worked on with Waterville Valley,
Mhm.
what do you think you did well and what would you have done differently?
Okay.
Good thought process, taking it that way, and taking it, maybe another step is, where you feel limited by what we asked you to do.
Mhm. That's awesome. Mhm.
And the other thing, we had different areas that we wanted to use them for. We wanted to use them for buildings, roads.
Yep. So it's
Just
right
another-
here. Yep, buildings, roads, strategic planning, and other engineering services, land use, permitting, that kind of thing.
Right. So I wonder, if we ought to ask them what they think, what area they think they're strongest in and why.
Yeah.
And what area they think they're weakest in and why.
Okay.
I think we should try and ask some of the same questions to each.
Yep.
One that we interviewed.
Yep.
Obviously, we can't do that with the one that has not worked with us before.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Let's talk about solid waste, Jim.
I take it that you read all the stuff that was in the packet.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I had given you that, I had given you the stuff electronically before, but I wanted to basically quickly discuss it here so that we're on the
so
record
people
on
understand.
video so people know.
So do they think they're not going to get approval for
They,
reapplication?
they do not think they're gonna get approval
They-
if the legislation passes.
Right. Their objection, this, through the approval process, the state, there's an RSA that governs how they figure out how much space is
Capacity.
there, how much capacity, how much is needed, how much is gonna go to out of state, and et cetera, et cetera. And I guess the state, the reason they withdrew their original permit application is because the state changed their interpretation of that.
Of the capacity calculation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it kind of gets a little convoluted, but that's basically the gist behind why they
I think the biggest,
rescinded their application.
yeah, the biggest thing in that calculation is that the state allows all of the landfill owners to take out of state waste. And right now, we're looking at 50% of the total being put into our landfills comes from out of state. But in the calculation of the capacity,
Mhm.
they don't take any of that use into account. So,
But what's got me on all of this back and forth on this
Yeah.
is that there's no leadership in Concord
Sure.
as to determine a path that's going to help small communities like us with this problem until it's going to blow up completely.
that's right,
And we're going to be working in a position from, absolute survival on this,
that's right.
where it's going to allow the existing operators to have a monopoly that's just going to squeeze us to death.
That's right.
Where they should be saying, instead of now looking at this, and one section here is ignoring it, while the other section is running around
That's right.
trying to put it together. It just, I don't know, maybe we should ask Mr. Springer
Mhm.
to get us some answers on this and notice our deep concerns.
Okay.
This is not even just budgeting.
Right.
It's like, what happens when this whole thing goes to crap and they're looking for a solution? And we're sitting here with bags and tons of garbage that we have no place for.
That's correct.
That's right.
And it pretty much the worst case scenario is that we're going to be down to one facility
Yeah.
in the state that will accept this. And quite frankly, if we were to create these waste management districts, if you will, that's just going to be a receiving station.
Right, and they're all gonna have to go to this other.
And then it's going to have to be trucked out of there to someplace else. And you conceivably can see that your tipping fee will double.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yes.
That without this, if we limit the options.
That's correct. And the other problem with this whole recycling thing is there is no MRF in driving distance, a recycling facility that takes mixed recycling.
So I think it's good to reach out to Jerry and talk to him about it.
Yeah, because I think if he sees this from us, I'm probably sure he can see this from other people too.
Oh, yeah, he's getting the same thing from Lincoln. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. I know Butch Burbank has mentioned it to him as well.
All right.
Just for the people at home, we kind of jumped into this conversation without saying what we were talking about. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we're in a situation where the place where we take all of our garbage up in Bethlehem is running out of space. They may only be approved through the end of this year, possibly into April of next year.
Right.
And when we originally put the budget together, we thought they might run out of space this year
Right.
in April. And we had actually put some money in the budget to cover that. And after we got this news that it was going to go on for another year, we took that money out of the budget. However, the problem has not gone away.
Right. The problem,
And we're just looking at it being in 21 instead of this year.
and the problem will be deeper the further we let it
That's
problem
correct.
go.
Right.
That's correct. And really, we're not letting it go. We're reacting to what's
Well,
happening.
We don't have, yeah,
We as a state, yes, absolutely.
right.
Are there some things at the legislative level that we're supposed to help out with here?
Well, I think that we should get the text of the bills that North Country Environmental is worried about. And you should write a letter to Jerry, be on the record to our rep and our state senator that you're opposed to whatever parts of that bill are causing the problems for the landfills.
It isn't even the bills. It's the point that we're not taking any action to find a solution to this, whether we have the bill or not, because if we don't have the bill, we're still gonna run out.
That's right, and I think that's a letter to the governor
Right.
that says, you need to start coordinating this
Right.
between the agencies. And I agree, Mike, there are even different parts of DES that are disagreeing with each
Yeah,
other.
it's completely confusing to try to read this and put it into perspective,
Mhm.
where someone should take the lead and go, no, this is our priority. Because in 2 years, we're gonna really have a problem.
Because some of the bills are, quite frankly, designed to prohibit any new
Yeah,
That's right.
landfill or disposal options.
Right.
It's
And I
the
mean,
not in my backyard mentality.
I
Still.
get that, but we have to find a backyard.
well, and I don't want to be in the, like we've heard about Massachusetts towns that are trucking their garbage to Virginia and Ohio.
Right.
And, you know, we certainly don't want to start doing that because those costs are astronomical.
They're
But put it
crazy.
this way, if a small community like this is doing this, the problem has gone way beyond any kind of
That's right.
quick solution or reasonable solution.
Well, there was a newspaper article, I think, last week that Manchester is starting to feel the pinch of
Mhm.
recycling.
Oh, everybody is, yeah.
Okay,
All right, the paybacks, construction estimate on Valley Road. Margaret, did you get a chance to look that over?
I did, it's a little higher than the money we have, right?
it's within $1,000 of what we have, but it is it's everything, we would have to use everything that we have available if town meeting makes the appropriation that we've recommended.
And we have no money for.
And would have no money for emergency. And so I talked to Rich about it. He's nervous about not having any money available, so he would not be in favor of doing that.
Right.
I'm telling Mike that your options right now are to not do it and hold the money, continue to hold the money, right, for emergency repairs and for the paving of Valley Road that we have set aside for this. Or if you wanted to move forward with this, I would recommend that we make an amendment to the budget at town meeting and appropriate an amount of money to have a reserve for emergency repairs. And that we not do this work unless we got that approved.
Exactly, we would have to do that. And for those at home who are, trying to
Try and
follow
follow
what we're doing. This was the second part of the sign project, where we're gonna widen Valley Road, the entrance from the town from Triple I Road down through Tecumseh Road, and make sure there were bike lanes on either side. And one side, and correct the drainage over in front of the single-family houses where the road buckles and turns. So this is more along the lines of, the road is failing, it's not failing badly, but it is the welcome to our community. And it would give a lot more safety to that turn for people on bicycles. Is that a fair assumption, Chris? We voted the money in a few years ago. We didn't have the money to do it. We've come to a solution where we can get it done, but it will deplete us where, if,
Yes,
can we propose doing this if we get the supplemental? Can we bring this up?
well,
How do we,
if you look at the warrant article, you're right now, the warrant article is to appropriate 30,000 to be added to it's Article 9 on page 24.
okay.
There's, so we have an article for 30.
Right.
If you increase that to 50, just as an example, increase that to 50 if that passes with the money we have on hand, we would have $208,000 available. This project estimate is $189,800, so we have $19,000, $18,000 available for emergency repairs,
All right.
plus
now-
our contingent.
All right, let's talk about emergency repairs with Jim for a second. The patching we did last year
Yes.
with this new super patch, where did that money come from?
I believe it came out of our repair account.
Okay,
Road repair, plus we had 5,000 for the Tecumseh Road
Okay, great.
that was
And,
capped.
and what did that run us? Was it 17,000 or something?
I think we were into it for 22 and change.
20, so 17 and the 5. How much more of that is left to do this year?
There's some crack sealing and there's obviously some more of that that could be done, so.
Well, let's not talk about could be done, let's talk about should be done. You know,
Yeah,
Well, it
let's just-
depends on how much we're gonna do. I would
Oh.
only wanna do those roads that we weren't gonna be able to get to in the next 3 or
Right.
4 years.
That's the point I'm trying to make,
Yeah.
like, the should be, not could be, the should be,
Right.
because we're not gonna get to fixing the road. What are you thinking? Is 19,000 gonna give you the patchwork repairs on these roads we're not gonna get to, plus give us money in case of an emergency?
I think 25 is a safer amount, because we do have crack sealing that should be done. Well, that has to be done literally, and I would say that there are, we could focus on some of the problem structures in town with, sewer manholes where they're, kind of, the pavement around them is all crumbling and, we get heaving there. And
Now, are we also having the water guys back this year? The guys that,
The sewer?
Yeah.
Guys?
are we having them back, or we're waiting to see if we get a grant for that grant? We're putting in for the grant for that, correct? That's part
On
of,
the assessment, but
Yeah.
as
Right.
far as the camera, yes, we have money that's separate from the
no,
assessment.
no, I'm not
project.
getting that, and the
Um,
concern I have
yeah.
is when we get in with those cameras, when you mentioned manhole covers. With those cameras, do we have a potential of having to tear some stuff up to get down and fix stuff? Or they were using a technique where they were going from the inside of the
That's
pipe out.
Right, correct.
Yes,
Yep.
I do not anticipate, unless they found just a huge hole, which I don't think they will.
Right.
I don't think we'll be tearing up roads to
Yeah.
do any repair.
I don't anticipate that at all.
I think if you're comfortable with the engineering firm that you choose, we can get a lot of the design work done this year and get it out to bid so that in '21, we can be paving, if you want, we can be paving larger sections of road. Because we're going to have that engineering work.
I think part of the reason we're doing the engineering
Yes,
is so we can send out proposals to do
That's
larger things and get more,
That's
for a
right.
very contract.
that's right. And
When is the state doing 49?
this year,
But here's the thing that I found out from there. Was it Biden? Here's whatever we were saying, here's the thing, or
Yeah.
check you buddy, or whatever.
don't use it.
The Pavex contract to do this.
Yeah.
Includes the paving, so it's not dependent on having Continental who's gonna pay
Well,
for, or.
Yes, it is kind of, because if we get Continental, I think we're gonna be
Or
much
whoever.
more, or whoever gets the state contract, I don't know if they do have it. But we're gonna be much closer to this 189 number, okay? If we have to put this out as a separate, remember we did that before,
Right,
and it was over 200,000. So he's estimated it. I'm sure that he's taken into account getting on the
Because he
state,
knows about it.
because he knows the state contract.
okay,
is
no,
there.
see, this is where I
So-
was confused when we talked about this.
Yeah.
And I asked if the 189 included paving.
It-
I assumed Pavex was going to do the paving, not
No.
Continental, I didn't assume.
They're putting it out to bid,
Right.
because.
That whole 189 is going out to bid.
That's correct. They may bid on it. I don't know if
Yeah.
Pavex will bid on it, but I don't get the impression that they're gonna bid on it. From what Ed and Bill have said. They might. But that 189, I'm sure they're taking into account having a.
A
paving
discount,
contract.
be able to piggyback on
Yeah.
that. Margaret, what do you think?
Oh, boy,
This is 20,000 less than our previous bid
right.
for that same work, right?
Right.
Roughly.
Well, yeah, with the caveat that we haven't got bids yet.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
that's right. This
It could be-
estimate is 20,000
That's
less than what our bid
Bid
was
was,
last.
correct.
So this is not a bid, this is.
No, this is not a bid.
No,
No, this is,
This is his estimate.
I I think that we should put some more money into, what is it,
The road
Article
repair,
9?
Article 9.
I think we should put some more money into that.
Well, if you look at it this way, if we put the more money into Article 9 and we bid this out
Mhm.
and it comes in at 245,000, we say
Right.
we're not gonna do it.
That's right,
Right.
We have more money here for the road work,
That's
which we're gonna need eventually
anyway.
anyways. You know,
Mhm.
everyone agrees that the biggest thing in town is we need to get these roads fixed.
Right.
So by taking a little bit more this year and putting it aside and not spending it frivolously, because we have it, I see no downside to it. And if we bid this out and if it comes in at over the 189, you know,
Right.
we're not gonna do it.
That's right.
So I don't have a problem with putting
I think that's a good approach.
I do.
that up, but
Is at least if you don't do it this year, you're building a war chest.
we're building
Take
a war
the
chest
sting
for the
away
roads.
for a bigger project.
Yeah, and there seems to be some resounding interest on the part of the citizenry in
Yes.
fixing the roads. So,
And
you know,
I'm sure
you're
there will
gonna
be
ask
within the
about
next
why
2
were
weeks.
we putting so little
Right.
into
And
the road
absolutely.
repair?
And,
Yeah.
and I think the answer to that question is we're waiting to get the engineering done.
Yeah.
Because we've gone through this with Bill Brox and he's recommended that we get it engineered.
All right, well,
So,
I would say let's put 25 in instead of 20. Take Jim's recommendation.
no, 25 additional.
That's what I'm saying.
45.
Additional,
So 45 total.
No, it's 30 and 25.
I'm sorry, 55.
55 total.
Okay,
And let the people decide.
all right. So I'll put that in the warrant script where there's an amendment.
And we'll explain why.
I think that we also have an opinion that we'd like to get Cumsa Road done, and we'd also like to get that Snows Brook Road
Absolutely.
done.
Yes.
That is our unprofessional, non-engineered opinion.
Yeah.
That's just what we think are some of the projects that need
Correct.
to be done
Yep.
shortly after we finish
That's right.
the entrance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, well, 3.
I just want to make sure that we're all set for a town meeting and what you really want to concentrate on when we get to that article for the bond issue, because
Yeah.
Bill Larson called me and has indicated that he's going to make an amendment to remove the construction money and to just fund design engineering in an amount of about $175,000 instead of the $1 million.
Okay, well, the concerns I have
Yes,
are the line going under the river, how it's deteriorated more rapidly than we've known in the last few years. That's number 1. Number 2, we ran into a situation by being down a well a few years ago where we almost came to bottled water for Vacation Week by bringing tanker trucks in.
Yeah.
If we can
Yeah,
get.
we had them scheduled.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
those-
people don't understand this.
We
People
did.
think we've got plenty of water. People don't understand that for us to keep our permit to pump water and provide water as our own wholly owns a town plant, we have to be able to meet certain criteria. And if one of our things go down again, we don't meet that criteria. We have a real major situation, as we were with the dam, where they could come in and say, by the way, we're coming in, and we're gonna make you do these. So, you know, I think,
Especially if there's an issue at well 4 and the accessibility, if there's an issue at well 4 in the middle of January,
right,
you have an accessibility problem.
right. No, I get that, but we have to stress these points why we're doing this. Because everything is good today,
right.
but it could change as we did, everything was fine until well 3 got crazy.
And I think if we just funded engineering, we are backing up the project
Right.
12 to 18 months, which means we wouldn't even be able
Yeah.
to start construction until 2022.
Yep.
And
Now, the other things I would think we should do is I think someone should go into well building number 2 and take some great pictures of what
Yeah.
it looks like in there.
Yeah.
People don't
Yeah, they don't know.
understand that at all. And they should also take some pictures of well building for the inside and the control panels, and give those two as a contrast, and then show how little distance it is to run that one to the other one.
Mhm.
The reason we didn't do that when we built it, the number was absurd to go 30 feet. And we had already spent so much money.
And we're basically talking about a town water system that if anything happened to that rapidly deteriorating thing in the
Yeah.
river, the only people who get water are the folks that are on the western side of the river.
Actually, I don't think you get any either.
Well,
I don't think
your
anybody
house
gets
for-
any.
For some water.
Yeah.
No, but that's,
Yeah.
that is really scary, that, and I think just the permitting to get that done, to keep it in a time frame where the permit is still good.
Also, there's an advantage if we are going after grants or low interest loans to do it on a larger amount
Of course.
all at one time, as opposed to trying to piecemeal.
That's right.
We'd have multiple applications instead of one
That's correct.
And the multiple applications require all these
engineering
different,
time.
and permits.
Yeah.
It's,
And I'll just throw this in as well. Looming out there, we never know if it's gonna happen or if it's not. DES has threatened it, but well 2 and maybe even well 3 could be classified as under the influence of surface water
yeah, no. with
because
the
of their
regulations.
proximity to the river.
And also the new regulations are coming in because of what happened down south.
Mhm.
If they tighten the regulations on us, we might have to do it with no contractors available to do it because everyone's gonna have to do it.
That's right.
So there are some very good compelling reasons.
Yeah. We'll have that
Okay, good.
info.
Any news on the ice arena? Okay, we'll pass on that for now. Any correspondence?
I do not have that.
Okay. Privilege to the floor number 2. Anybody new come in, anything?
Okay, 3.
2.
No, we did one.
And
There was nobody
Craig's
for one.
input in
Craig
there.
was at
So
number
this is
2.
2.
Oh, he was-
Number 3.
He was 1A.
He was 1A. There you go. This is
Yeah,
number 2.
people will think we're la-di-da.
Yeah.
All right, wait, anything in non-public?
I do want to update you on one potential legal
All right,
issue.
well, thank you everybody for coming in. We're going to go into non-public at 3:50. And Brooke, if you just hang out for a minute, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
No,